Carol, it is a pleasure to have you here. We're delighted to have. It's delighted to have this solo show of yours. Actual tons of bronze on display. It's wonderful to just celebrate such a storied career. I do have a couple of questions, if you indulge me.
Yeah.
First off, about the texture of your work. It's fascinating. It has this sort of tree-like bark kind of regeneration to it. There's a lot of parts that seem to have been taken away and handed on. Can you elaborate on what this means to you?
So when I'm making a sculpture, I use tools and knives and things like that. So basically, I've kind of got a big lump of clay in one hand, and then I'm kind of scooping at the clay and kind of putting it on like this. So it started off just naturally making these marks, and then I've kind of carried on and kind of turned them into leaves almost. And I really like this idea that they look like leaves and that she's made out of leaves, or like some people say, is it made out of wood or bark? And sometimes they to me, they look a bit like, not so much this one, but some of the others, it looks a bit like slate. So I love this idea that the clay is like from the ground, and then I manipulate it, and then it kind of looks like it's from the earth afterwards. So it's a kind of, and my work's very much about kind of land and being grounded, and I get a huge amount of being within nature and things, so that's sort of part of the thing. And then there's rhythms that go through the work with texture, and sometimes I feel like that's like almost like a sea, or so it's a lot to do with nature.
There's a lot of movement in there.
Yeah. So you've just missed a bit there.
You were talking about the groundedness of your sculpture and how that relates to the clay. They're made from the land, they sort of evoke slate leaves. I did notice some of them have really quite large feet, which I think lends itself to this sense of groundedness. Can you elaborate on that? Am I right?
Yes, and the next question we were going to ask was, what's the question that everybody asks?
Right, yeah, I bet you're sick of hearing that.
No, it's just really funny because I don't really have a very good answer for it. I think lots of artists have done this in the past, like Giacometti, that put big feet on. And it's just like, I think that the hands and feet are very important. Well, not so much the feet, but like your hands are a massive part of the way you express yourself. And I think they just, basically, I've never really had a very good answer for it. It's just like, it's like one of those things that I go, I don't know, they just look weird if I put them on small. If I like do small, normal sized feet, it's just like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to do a lot of life drawing here in Cambridge, and I'd sit on the floor in front of everyone. So I'd be like looking up like this, so in a way the perspective, that's
right.
Partly it, yeah.
I think
but I don't really have a very good answer.
That was brilliant.
And it was about, basically it's kind of giving back to nature. That's why quite a lot of my things are like holding, like I do small ones. I've got a small one called Bird Bath. Obviously it's just an idea. But this is actually, you can feel, this does fill with water, and the birds can sit on the side, and it's like the other thing I really like doing is playing with quite naff ideas and then making them not naff, hopefully. So one of them is called, another one is called Bird Bath, and I just...
Yeah, brilliant. None of us naff.
Yeah.
Well, quite often we're asked here, do we have any advice for newer artists in like an earlier stage of their journey? Seeing something this remarkable by one artist, it can be quite daunting. I just wondered if you had any advice for artists who are in those earlier stages.
Basically, I think you've just got to trust your gut instinct. You've got to do, talk about music earlier, there's a guy called Justin Townsville. He's not around anymore, but he had this, we were at a gig in Bristol, I think, and somebody heckled from the crowd and just said, play this song or something, and he just went, don't tell me what to do. And I was just like, that's me. basically my strapline.
Great.
I went to Winchester School of Art and then went up into figurative sculpture there, but I just wanted to do that, so I just carried on. So I really just like found my voice in my work, what I wanted to do, what makes me really, really excited, and I've just carried on doing that. So I think really there's no point in trying to do something that you don't enjoy just because it's fashionable or it earns money, or so it's really just about being as honest as you can. And I feel like just I kind of like this idea of your work is like your handwriting. So like nobody's got the same handwriting. Right. So you could be doing exactly the same thing as somebody else, but it's just not going to turn out. Especially when you're working with clay or something very physical, it's going to be you because it's come from you. Yeah. And I think you can look around, but don't try and emulate too. You can be inspired by things, but don't try and emulate too stuff, because if you fake it, then it's going to be so obvious and everybody will be able to. I mean, they might not be able to tell, but you'll be able to tell, and it just make you feel sick inside all the time. So yeah, you want to do stuff that makes you happy, basically, because you're going to spend a lot of hours doing it. Yeah. And also, I think lots of people say this. And my old tutor was very good at Winchester, and I still remember it now. I don't know him, I swear, but he just went, it's just a job. You know, don't get all arty-farty about it. Go to work 9 to 5, you know, if not more. You know, don't flounce around going, no, I'm just not in the mood. You just go to work. Yeah. And I think writers say that as well. I just sit down at my desk and I work, and that's what you do. And then you become completely obsessed and you can't not work. That's really annoying. Because you basically, it's like when you create something and you're pleased with it, it's like so addictive, and then you want to do it again and again, and then you're doomed to be an artist.
What a shame. What a shame, Carol.
Yeah. No. Going back to that Hooray for Riff-Raff, Palante, this is very much about this song, and when I'm like starting to get into new work, what I like to do is play music that is really, really miserable.
Okay.
But just like it's just trapping into it's like going into that space, which is like the empathy space, where you just like feel so passionate and so moved, and it gives you this huge amount of energy to work. And this piece I made weird. It doesn't look like this, but there's a film called The Swimmers, and it's about 2 Syrian girls who I would totally recommend this film. It's an amazing film. Who were training for the Olympics, and then their swimming pool got bombed, and it's their journey how they got to I think they got to Germany, and it's an amazingly poignant and also informative thing about being a refugee or an asylum seeker or whatever. And I would recommend everybody to see it. Hi. Kind of representative of this, because it's about this bravery of kind of moving forward, which is what the Palante song is about as well. But it's also it's kind of like tiptoeing gently through life, but also just carrying on, you know.
There's a real sense of rhythm, just sort of through the textual work, as well as there's a sense of like movement and pace to it.
Yeah.
And
I've got a life-size version of this, and it's in water. And I love the idea of it not having this bit and then travelling along like a rill of water. At the moment, it's in this pond which has got lilies and stuff, so she's sort of walking on water sort of thing. I don't know why, it's just nobody's like grabs in water, but it's a thing. And the other song, which I might have mentioned before, is about that piece there, which is, it's called, I mean, it's not an amazing song, it is an amazing song, but it's called There Isn't One Way, and this is kind of a bit like what I was saying about being a young person starting working, is that, and she sings in the song, it's Patty Griffin, and she sings in the song, There isn't one way, it's your way. Or, I'll write it down so you remember. There's just one way for you, and that's the right way. You know, it's like there's no point in like looking around all the time. I've got this painting of two horses, and one of them is looking back at the other one. There's a bay and a grey horse, and the grey horse is in the lead, and it's looking back at the other one, but it's the bay that wins. And it's like nothing is a competition at all.
Sure.
But it's that thing of like just being true to yourself and like just going your way, and the way that you believe. Well, the only way you can do it, you know, you can only do it your way.
Yeah.
And I have done it slightly differently to a lot of people, but you know, that's how I've ended up. You know, that's what I've done.
Seems like it went pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's just so important not to kind of always look at what you haven't done and what you have done. I've written loads of poems. I'll talk about that next walk.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Carol, so much.
Oh, that's
It's an
right.
absolute pleasure having a chat with you. And yeah, thanks for coming in, and thanks for all this amazing work.
Well, I hope you enjoy it the week, you know, the weeks you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.